Today, we welcome Alan Walker, the Executive Director of the United Way, as our guest on the Power of Community program. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you. Good to be here this morning, Thom.
Great to have you here. So I'd like for you to tell us just a little bit of your journey, what it was that brought you to a place of serving at the United Way, and perhaps your journey into this community.
Sure. You could go way back and probably say that it really did start with my dad, but I think we'll have an opportunity to discuss that a little bit later. But the sense of community has always been important to me, and I think as I grew and developed a little bit as an adult, it became much stronger. Originally, right out of high school, I went into farming, purchased a family farm operation, and did that for 10 years in very isolation. And the sense of community was not very big. It was 3 people, it was me, myself, and I. And then I got out of that and really started thinking about what it was that I wanted to do with my life and what I wanted to get out of it. And I ended up here in Wenatchee 10 years ago, it'll be 10 years ago this summer. Mm-hmm. And what I discovered is by being a part of the United Way, it really was a part of something much bigger than just myself. And it gave me the opportunity to really continue to develop as a person and identify what I could do, what I could bring, how I could perhaps enhance a community, if you will.
Yeah. I remember hearing that story about your farming background, and you and I share that in common as I was farming again in isolation in central North Dakota for about 13 years and spending 16 hours a day on a tractor. It does cause you to think about community a little bit.
It does, and very similar. This was rural southeast Kansas, a community of 500 people, and an hour drive to the grocery store. So
you better have your list
have your list well planned. Yes.
Well, so as we talk about community, one thing that we would like to do is get kind of a working definition of community, because I know it's like any other thing that we speak about. We can come from different perspectives in its definition, and as well as you can, I'd love to hear what that definition is about community and how it is that you work with that.
Yes. So after I got out of farming, I returned to college a little bit later in life, and one of the things that really intrigued me were some sociology classes that I had the opportunity to take on early in my college career, and learning kind of the roots, if you will, around community and how long that phrase has been used and how it has been used. And so then I think I started to develop at least my idea of community, and it's really looking at a group of people, if you will, around a common objective, similarities, but with differences as well. Because I think anytime you have a group of people that all share the same exact common idea, you start to lose some momentum, some creativity, if you will. So while community is around a common objective, it's a common objective with perhaps different avenues to reach that objective and different perspectives, if you will. And I see community not just as a geographic place, but more as a people place. And so community can really be as small, or in my mind, as large as you want to think about community. And so you could look at a very small neighborhood as a community around that neighborhood, or even a particular school and the community that they have developed there, or globally. And what do we perceive as our objective at the global level for the continuation of a healthy society worldwide. So it's I find that even almost regularly I continue to update and tweak my idea of community just a little bit as well. The more I learn from others, the more that I grow as an individual. But the common objective with a variety of voices at the table, I think really, to my mind anyway, describe community.
That's good. I think I hear in that, as you describe that, as the picture that I see as you're describing that is a series of concentric circles that continue to move outward.
Yes.
And there's always that potential of that circle starting to turn inward but community is that smaller here,
Here.
and then you mentioned global,
Global,
and
yeah.
All of those circles move outward.
Move outward,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
So there's an author, teacher named Parker Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
He's written some great books. He said, community doesn't just create abundance, community is abundance.
Yeah.
And I would like for you to just reflect on that and talk about this community as you have defined it, and reflect on that quote, that community doesn't just create abundance, but it is abundance.
Absolutely. And I'll reflect back to a phrase that was created here in this, at least I'll give it credit to this community, maybe even to you, Thom, but the idea of better together.
Mm.
And I truly believe that, the sum of the parts is stronger than any one part by itself. And so the idea of abundance is, again, bringing together people that share like ideas and different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you take the abundance of everybody's thoughts and everybody's abilities and skills into creating a community that is full of prosperity, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of those things that we're trying to get at here within this area we call community. And again,
Mm-hmm.
whatever geographic footprint you want to put on that community. But I think we're trying to get there is how do we create abundance for more? And realizing that community does help create abundance.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. So you're doing, a number of things in the community as an organization, as United Way.
Mm-hmm.
Also seen you work together in creating collaborative environments.
Mm-hmm.
Speak a little bit to that. What you are doing as a United Way,
Mm-hmm.
either generally or specifically, that is reflecting and building community.
Well, one of the things that I love about United Way is that I wake up every morning totally excited to start the day, and it is forever changing. And I think people ask frequently, what is United Way? And I think one of the best words to describe it is convener. We really try to bring people together, and I think that again boils down to community. And specifically ways that we have done that. In the last few years, we've developed the Youth United program, bringing youth together around volunteerism, and now we've mobilized over 1,300 youth throughout Chelan and Douglas County, all around the common objective of giving back and supporting their community. And again, that community may be their school, may be their church, may be their town or community or neighborhood, or the region as a whole, but giving back to that community. We've also started the opportunity community and how we approach the alleviation of poverty and help build prosperity for people, for our neighbors that are struggling. And again, it's convening and bringing people together to take on that approach. And how do we do that, realizing that you and I are far more alike than we are different. Mm-hmm. And just because I may have a different social standing than somebody else in the community doesn't mean that they're any less, but they possibly are even more, and more than likely are more. And so how do we help build that prosperity for each of our neighbors? And then we've also really started digging and delving into early childhood development and recognizing that many of the ills, if you will, for people moving forward is the experiences that they have in those first very early years of life, from birth to age 3 or 4, has a profound effect on how we turn out as adults. And the science is there to support it. So we're really trying to educate, again, our community on how do we wrap our arms. The always old African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child, really is true. And I think we really need to recognize it and grab a hold of that. And then lastly, another specific area that we find ourselves involved in helping build community and helping people identify what that is around the Our Valley What's Next project. Yeah. And that I think has propelled this area further in the last 12 months than I would dare to say almost any other effort that has been brought forward.
Yeah.
to this region.
As we were part of that, I mentioned to you before that you walk in there, and I'm not sure of the exact number. There had to be close to 100.
Just over 100.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that to me is revealing a trajectory of community, and the diversity that was there in the room, as you mentioned, the people that didn't know one another previously to coming into that room.
Yes.
There is that sense of trajectory that is building and generating.
It really is, and from that work over the last 12 months, or even might even dare to say 6 or 8 months, the community, every person around here has had the opportunity to voice and be heard, and they have helped create 28 different strategies for this area and 98 different objectives, and things that people are interested in seeing and pushing forward, and doing that as a whole. And it goes back to your comment about community as abundance. Yeah.
That's good. So Hunter Patch Adams once said, we can never get a recreation of community and heal our society without giving our citizens a sense of belonging. It's that sense of invitation that he references here. So reflect on some ways you see increasing belonging in our community and some of the big challenges that we face in extending that invitation of belonging.
As soon as you open that door, it creates a challenge. But it's a challenge worth overcoming. And Monday, you referenced Monday night when we were gathering folks around the R Valley What's Next and helping to move that project on forward. There were innate challenges. But challenge is not necessarily bad. Challenge creates an opportunity for a deeper understanding of individuals and how we all fit together. And so when I think about, some of the biggest challenges we face in creating community is how do we allow ourselves to recognize that each person has value. And we talked a little bit about diversity, and we're not going to get into the definition of diversity, and I really lean more towards equity, and that we are all equitable, and we all have a certain skill set, knowledge, thoughts, ideas that we each bring to the table. They may be a little bit different at times, which is the challenge, but how we approach those challenges and allow ourselves to sit back and listen and communicate and collaborate with individuals is the way to overcome those challenges that are going to walk through the door.
So as we finish up, I want to reflect on what you are thinking in terms of the future. And I spoke just a minute ago about a trajectory, and I think trajectory is as important as a snapshot in a moment. What do you see in terms of the trajectory or the vision for our community, and what is it that you see in terms of that vision?
Wenatchee and the whole area is a phenomenal place. And when I project in my mind, looking down the road another 10 years from now, when I hope I'm still here and get to be a part of this fantastic place and continue to do what I love doing, and I see a more vibrant prosperity. I see a community that where we welcome our differences at a greater scale. I see a community that is more in tune with our roots, and at the same time looking upward to the blossoms as well. And how do we continue down that pathway? And I go back to that equity of recognizing that we're all on this journey together, and it's going to be far stronger to do it hand in hand rather than back to back. And what I hope and what I see 10, 15 years from now is a community very intertwined with each other, and that we really start to reflect on how do we help each other, our neighbors, on a day-to-day basis. How do we help and support our young children, our youth that are growing up? How do we, what have we created that helps them to feel that sense of belonging and wanting to stay in this area and be prosperous for themselves as well?
I hear in that it's one thing to do a community project.
Yeah.
It's another thing to own that as a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think projects are easy.
Projects are easy.
You put the projects out there. Those projects, we can come together and we can work together for 6
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
But the challenge, to me, is to translate that into a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And now I go out and am community as I live my life,
Yes.
as opposed to something I do on a Saturday.
Yes. Yeah. It's far bigger, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's not a very good word, but it really is. It's recognizing that you are, as you said, you are community, and as each one of us start to recognize and identify with that, I think the cohesiveness and the possibilities for each and every individual here will be profound.
Well, I am so encouraged by our conversation today and your willingness to come in and reflect on community. I too share your enthusiasm and excitement about the direction in our community. I'm also very cognizant of the challenges, and I'm grateful to be
Absolutely.
in partnership with someone that is willing to understand both and
Yes.
move forward within the context of those challenges. So.
I appreciate it very much. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today, Thom. And yes, challenges are just another opportunity waiting to be conquered. So
Thank you for joining us.
you bet. Thank you.